Hello. It's nice to be back. I had a week off last week, and this week our theme is just to celebrate the summer solstice. For those practitioners that know our community, the studio is hosting 108 sun salutations tomorrow at Mitford Park at 10, which would I think be a really nice way to see our community again and just to be together in a safe way. In regards to the summer solstice, it is a season in which we kind of celebrate the element of fire and the meridians of the heart and the small intestine. So a lot to do with the inside of the arm, and then also the shoulder blade kind of coming up through the neck. And then also, I think if we look at how nature is in the fullest of expansion, in yoga, in traditional Chinese medicine, in Ayurveda, we're always just curious and observant of how we want to create balance. So if nature is in the fullest of expansion, then breath wise, we favor the exhale. We favor that kind of cooling, that letting go. So more specifically, we're favoring the pause at the bottom of the exhale at this time of year. Enough talk. Let's get into our practice. So any position that's comfortable, and then prop wise, a block or two if you have, and if not, it's okay. I'll teach you some things that you can do with your mat to substitute that. So as you come to seated, I'll just ask that you choose a position for your legs. And then consider if it's appropriate at this time to shut down the external gaze and to come into the internal gaze. And you begin by just simply noticing your breath. And let it kind of come to you. And then this really beautiful thing happens when the focus is that of the breath. The breath tends to slow down and the breath tends to elongate on its own. It may be complementary just to start to use the breath as a way to feel into the physical body, where movement occurs naturally as you breathe both in and out, where fluidity occurs naturally as you breathe in and out. So the little bit of movement that you can feel through the shoulders as they rise, as they fall, breath in and breath out. And then the movement that you feel through the sideline of your body as the sideline expands and as the sideline hugs in. And then gradually over time, you're going to start to take note of the pause. Because the word solstice, it means pause. It means stillness. So the pause at the peak of the in-breath. And then the pause at the valley of the out-breath. And it's in this pause at the valley of the out-breath that there is emptiness. And it's in that emptiness that there is source, that there is source of life, that there is action potential. Please take 2 more cycles of breath here. And there is this saying that the sound of the heart is the sound of one hand clapping in air. So essentially the sound of silence. And silence is the sound which all other sounds build upon. Please use the space of your heart today to set an intention for your practice, or just to simply breathe one more breath in this very moment, this time, this space. Good. And then feel free to blink open the eyes if they're closed. And I'm just going to turn to shift around so you can see what we're doing. We're going to start to open the heart meridian and the SI meridian really simply by flipping your palm of your hand away from your body, and then inhale this arm up and just get to the highest point before you exhale this arm back and down. And your eyes are going to start to follow your fingers, then hand on your knee and switch sides. So inhale and exhale. And we'll do this 2 more times. Breath in, trace this circle. And breath out your arm back and down. Good. Breath in. Breath out. One more time, please. Breath in. Complete your circle. Breath out. And other side. Breath in. Good. Breath out. At this point, we're going to shift shape to a tabletop. And if you have your blocks or your bolster, you may consider using them for this pose. We're coming into our heart melting pose, or into Anahatasana. So I like hips and knees in alignment. And then from the front line of your hips, you're going to hinge. An option for the block or blocks, firstly, is to bring a block underneath your head. So you're bringing the ground up to you. Option number 2 for your blocks, or if you have a bolster, is to lay them across and then to put the crease of your wrists to the top edge of your block, and then exhale your forehead down to the ground. And we start to breathe into the SI meridian. We start to breathe into the lateral edges of the shoulders. All the while starting to firm the lower belly into the spine, the Uddiyana Bandha. And a lot of times we hold tension, as you know, through the shoulders. We hold responsibility and fear through the shoulders. So if there's a way at this time to kind of purify and to release, just trust that the fire element knows how to take that on. You know, in nature, we see fire as this really destructive force. But we can also see it as this force of renewal and this force of kind of starting over. So the summer solstice is halfway through the year. It may be a time where you're aware of the goals you've set. The ones that are working for you, the ones that are just better to kind of let go. And try not to use judgment. I know that's an easy thing to say, and it can be kind of a more challenging thing to do. Just a couple more breaths here in your Anahatasana, your heart melting pose. Shoulder blades are drawing in as breath is expanding into the lateral edge of the rib cage, into the lateral edge of the shoulders. And then I just kind of want to play with internal and external rotation of the arms. So whether or not your hands are on your blocks, your bolster, or the ground, as you inhale, you're going to come onto the pinky finger edge of the hand, so the palm of the hands are facing in. And then as you breathe out, reverse, so index finger edge of the hand comes down as the palm of the hands face out. And when you're working at bone level, it's deep, it's thoughtful, it's intentional. Palm of the hands face in. And then palm of the hands face out. Good, and 2 more times. Palm of the hands face in. Good, palm of the hands face out, internal rotation. And 1 more. Roll, roll, roll through your upper arm bones, palm of the hands facing in. Inhale. And then exhale, palm of the hands face out. Palm of the hands to the earth. And then take your time, please, to bring your hands underneath your shoulders and start to rise up through the spine. I'll just ask that you place your props to the side. And then with wrists underneath shoulders, start to walk your knees back so you're in a preparatory position for your plank pose. It's our one, it's our only. You're going to allow the front body to come down with some care. And then once you're there, with hands underneath shoulders, tap the tips of the fingers so you're actively drawing your elbows into the sideline of your body. And then inhale, let's just use the heart. Let's use the space of the heart to rise up through this baby cobra pose. Inhale. And to come down on exhale. No final destination at all as you breathe in and rise. And as you breathe out and release. And 1 more time as you inhale. Good. And as you exhale. This time as you start to come up, bring your forearms down to the ground. So Sphinx pose, palm of the hands to the earth. Important that you draw the lower belly into the front side of the spine. And you're bringing just the safe amount of compression, the right amount of compression for you through your lower back. So I often think of Sphinx pose as this balance between the fire element of the heart and the water element of the kidneys, the water element of the low back. This posture focuses on the two. And it's in the peak of the summer. It's in the hottest and brightest days that we use that water element for balance, for hydration, for coolness. Breath is starting to anchor down into the lower back, into the house of the kidneys. All the while, the heart is starting to lift forwards, starting to lift upwards. And this might be that time where you come back to your breath if you've lost that connection. And we'll just be here for about 10 more cycles in our Sphinx pose. If your body is giving you the okay, the next option to add or to stay is to bring your heels in towards your sit bones. That's the way. Please allow the breath to come and go for one more cycle. And then exhale. If heels are coming in towards sit bones, you're going to bring the tops of the feet to the mat. And then take your time, please, to bring the front line of your body back to the ground. Once you're there, double stack your hands. So right hand over left or left hand over right. And then just inhale and exhale, lower belly into the earth, and then lower belly into the front side of the spine. And one more time, lower belly into the earth, breath in, and lower belly into the front side of spine, breath out. Optional to grab a block if you have one. If not, it's okay. The ground will work for you. We're going to come into our open wing pose. So I'll ask that you start to open your right arm out to the side. Check into it. Make sure your wrist is in alignment with your elbow and your elbow is in alignment with your shoulder. And then you're going to rotate the gaze away. And for some of you, if you have an injury at all through the anterior shoulder, stay here. For others, it could be okay to start to roll back so you're on the outside edge of your right hip and you're stacking your left leg above your right leg. Ankles, knees, hips are stacked. From here, another option is that you can start to step your left foot behind. You could even extend that left arm up. Or you could place your left hand onto your lower back. In our open wing pose, if we start to get a little bit nervy, it's okay to kind of come out and in a time or two. We won't be here for too long, but a posture where we focus on the meridian of the heart. And from my learnings in traditional Chinese medicine, I find it so fascinating to understand that this concept of diseases of the heart are relatively new. And part of that is because the heart has a protector, the pericardium. And so sometimes we see that protector of the heart as being really rigid, as the armor of our own heart, our own emotions as being really rigid. But if there's a way to soften into that rigidity, do so at this time, and just 3 more breaths on this side in your open wing pose. That's it. And then with as much care and as much thought as you took to come into this pose, come out of this pose, so please take it really slow. Left hand to the earth. Good. And then roll back to the front line of your body. Any sort of micro movements go from side to side. And then open your left arm out to the side. Flip your head over to the right side. And this could be an option if there's an injury or if you're just getting that feedback that this is enough for you. to double stack your legs. This time right is over left, heels, knees, hips. And then perhaps to right. Turn to the front line of your body. Good. And then why not just take a moment to baby rock your hips side to side? To gradually place your hands underneath your shoulders. And then one motion to come up, toes or knees, your high plank. And then from here, you're just going to walk your knees in so that you can bring your sit bones back to your heel bones. Good. And then start to shift your weight over and swing it around so that now your legs are back in front. And I'm going to turn to face you. So we're gearing up for our caterpillar pose. We're gearing up for a forward fold. I think this is important to do at this time of year because a lot of times we feel really open and really joyful in our back bends, but it's also important to focus on the back side of the heart, to focus on the shadow side of the heart. And that's what your forward fold can do. So with or without your block, let's inhale and elongate the spine. So the head is over the heart and the heart is over the pelvis. And then exhale, you're going to take your time to forward fold. And you'll know right away as you start to breathe into the space between the shoulder blades if it would feel better to walk your hands towards your ankles or the soles of your feet, or if it would feel better to back off a little. So some constriction for the front line of the body, but some space into the side line, into the back line of the body. And to me, this forward fold, this caterpillar pose is a really humbling posture. Where some days it can kind of be that marker of expectations. the expectation to come into a deep forward fold. But I think if we're able to kind of let go of that expectation and just to listen, then there's humility in the now. There is humility in just where you are in this space, where your body is in this space. And you deepen with the exhale breath. And can you pause? Can you pause at the bottom of that breath out in stillness? That's the way. Just a few more breaths, please. Caterpillar pose. Please complete this exhale. And then inhale with the support of your hands. You're going to rise up. Let the shoulders release down and back. And then please bring your hands behind you. Bend the knees. And a time or two, windshield wiper your knees side to side. So our last pose we're going to hold for a bit more time. And this pose is your fish pose. So options for your fish pose, if you have a block, is just to place it across like so. And then you're going to bring the block underneath the shoulder blades so that your head comes up and over. Option A. Option B, if you don't have a block, is to roll up your yoga mat. So you're just going to roll your yoga mat into a mini bolster, like so. And then you can do the same thing. You're going to come up. Mat is underneath shoulder blades. And then arms wide into a T, top of the head to the earth. Just a subtle opening through the throat. So it's the heart that decides the emotion, the dominant emotion that we feel at this time. And in Chinese medicine, each emotion is correlated to a certain flow of energy. So the emotion of joy is to often meander. So just start to do just that, kind of meander through your body. And there might be a place along the way that you haven't been to before or for a long time that kind of strikes your curiosity. As the hearts decide the dominant emotion that we feel at this time, it's the throat that decides often from the heart the words that we say or not say. How the two are intimately connected. And now the heart kind of comes to its rightful place, forwards and upwards, as the head drops down. As hopefully the thoughts start to drop down as well. If at this time you'd like to extend your legs long, go right ahead. Or if at this time you'd like to bring the soles of the feet together and start to open your knees out to the side, go right ahead. If there's a way that you can let your body relax, surrender into the exhale breath. And then start in that space as you breathe in. Front line of the body is open in your fish pose. This beautiful posture to receive. Calm and steady with your breath. And let's take 5 more. And one more time, a breath in and a breath out. And then kind of like we did with our Anahatasana, our heart melting pose, we're going to internally and externally rotate the arm bones. So palm of the hands are facing up, then anchor into the pinky finger edge of the hand and exhale palm of the hands to the earth. Breath in. Good, and breath out. Another time, inhale palm of the hands forwards. Exhale, palm of the hands downwards. Inhale, palm of the hands sideways. And exhale, palm of the hands to the sky. And one more time. Breath in. That's it. Breath out. Good. Breath in. And breath out. If legs are long, please start to walk your heels into your sit bones. If knees are out to the side, please use your hands on the outside of your knees to bring the knees back to center. Let the body kind of recalibrate a couple of breaths. And then your windshield wiper action side to side. And personal preference on the side that you roll onto. So exhale just your knees to one side. You can come off of your block if it's underneath you, or you can just simply scooch on down. So now that prop is underneath your head. And we're just going to pause in this fetal position. In the S shape of the spine. In the ascent on breath in. And the descent on breath out. Top of head on breath in. And tip of tailbone on breath out. And 3 more cycles. To me, this is a posture that just brings everything home to the heart. You may consider at this time just rolling onto the back line of your body for your Shavasana. Or you may consider coming up to Sukhasana, your easy seated pose, for a short meditation. And let me mind the time. I'll bring you back in a few minutes. And we just offer our inner fire, we offer our inner light to, the parts of our life that we want to kind of stoke. To grow and to move towards. Kind of that metaphor of moth to a flame. So summer can truly be this really exciting season where we can socialize more than we do in other seasons. So please be really mindful of what brings you balance in this season. It's the only time of year where in traditional Chinese medicine, we kind of see it appropriate to eat colder food or raw food. And I'll just let you be for a few more breaths. And whether you continue to lie back in your Shavasana, or if you're in Sukhasana, your seated pose, please bring your hands to the space of your heart. And can you tap into that rhythm? Can you tap into that pulsation, that vibrancy? And you save some for yourself, and you share some with each other. And it is with joy and with thanks that I thank you for your practice today. Take good care, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.